Good day, everyone. I am Sheila Ann I, Gabredo, and I am a second year BS Ed Math student. Today, we are going to tackle about inclusive education in the 21st century trends and best practices, focusing on three main subtopics from segregation to inclusion, universal design for learning or UDL, and assistive technology and digital tools. Here are our key objectives. So at the end of this lesson, students will be able to first is define inclusive education's historical evolution from segregation to full inclusion, citing key influences. Second is select and effectively utilize appropriate assistive technologies and digital tools to support students with diverse learning needs. And lastly is demonstrate a proactive and positive attitude towards using assistive technology and digital tools to support diverse learners. So first, let us define what is inclusive education. So inclusive education is a teaching and learning environment that supports all students regardless of their backgrounds, learning needs, or abilities. Every child has a right to inclusive education, including children with disabilities. So it is a fundamental shift in how we approach education, aiming to create learning environments that embrace and support all students regardless of their individual differences. It's not just about physical inclusion, but about fostering a sense of belonging, respect, and equity for every learner. Let us now go from segregation to inclusion of inclusive education. So segregation is the process by which children with special needs or disabled children are identified as a separate group and are educated in special schools in the company of other disabled children of the same category, being alienated from their parents, siblings, or non-disabled peers and their own community. However, inclusion is the process of bringing the parts or the handicapped children to the whole society. So the reduction of the physical and social distance results in social integration in which the groups become equal partners in the community. Universal Design for Learning or the UDL. So Universal Design for Learning is an approach to teaching and learning that gives all students equal opportunity to succeed. So this approach to teaching and learning offers flexibility in the way students access materials and show what they know. Okay, so we are now going to the principles of the UDL. So UDL is a framework of how to develop lesson plans and assessments. So it's based on three main principles. First is engagement, or look for ways to motivate learners and sustain their interest. So here are some examples. First, let people make choices. Give assignments that feel relevant to their lives. Make skill building feel like a game and create opportunities for learners to get up and move around. So second is representation. Offer information in more than one format. So for example, the instructor could provide a worksheet along with audio, which could be as simple as saying the written directions out loud. So video showing how to solve one of the problems. And last is of course hands-on learning. So the third principle is action and expression. So give learners more than one way to interact with the material and to show what they know. So for example, they might get to choose between taking a pencil and paper test, giving an oral report, making a video or a comic strip, and doing a group project. Examples of UDL in the classroom. So here are just a few examples of how UDL can work in a classroom. First is posted lesson goals. So one example of this is posting goals for specific lessons in a classroom. So student might also write down or insert lesson goals in their notebook. So the teacher refers to lesson goals during the lesson itself. Next is assignment options. For instance, students may be able to create a podcast or a video to show what they know. They may even be allowed to draw a comic strip. There are tons of possibilities for completing assignments as long as students meet the lesson goals. Next is flexible workspaces. So that's why in a UDL classroom, there are flexible workspaces for students. This includes spaces for quiet individual work, small and large group work, and group instruction. If students need to tune out noise, they can choose to wear earbuds or headphones during independent work. Okay, so next is regular feedback. So at the end of the lesson, Teachers may talk with individual students about lesson goals. So students are encouraged to reflect on the choices they made in class and whether they met the goals. So if they didn't meet the goals, they're encouraged to think about what might have helped them to do so. Lastly is the digital and audio text. So in a UDL classroom, materials are accessible for all types of learners. Students have many options for reading, including print, digital, text-to-speech, and audiobooks. For digital text, there are also options for text enlargement along with choices of screen color and contrast. Okay, lastly is the assistive technology and digital tools. So what is assistive technology? Assistive technology is an umbrella term for a wide range of tools, including devices, software, and equipment that enhance learning, working, and daily life for people with disabilities and others with accessibility needs. Assistive technology refers to the software and hardware tools that enable people with disabilities to access and interact with web platforms, digital applications, and devices. Different types of assistive technologies. First is screen readers. Screen reading software converts on-screen text and interactive elements into speech, enabling people with visual disabilities to navigate the web. Next is Braille displays. A Braille display translates digital text and other web elements, such as graphs, into Braille, enabling blind or deaf-blind people to interpret web content through touch. So next is screen magnifiers. So screen magnifying tools provide a range of magnification levels for on-screen content and computer pointers, making web interactions easier for people with low or no vision. Next, we have the reading assistants. So for people with low vision or who have difficulty understanding text content, reading assistants can change the presentation of content and provide other functionalities to make it more readable. So next is speech recognition software. Speech recognition software allows a user to navigate, type, and interact with a website using their voice. Next is we have keyboard navigation functionality. So people with mobility disabilities often have trouble gripping a standard mouse or using a touchpad. Next is we have the alternative keyboards. So people with mobility or cognitive disabilities may prefer an alternative keyboard, such as a larger keyboard, a one-handed keyboard, a Bluetooth-enabled keyboard, or an on-screen keyboard to help them interact with web content. The last but not the least is the eye tracking devices. So like there are alternative keyboards, there are also alternatives to mouses and pointer devices. So some people with mobility disabilities navigate using devices that transact eye movement to determine whether a person is focusing and what they want to click on. This ends the discussion and thank you for listening.